When there's so many things that need to be fixed, it's hard to get anything fixed. Here's why. Because it's so... Welcome to Car Talk, where I give you my 20 years of experience on my 20-minute. Here's why. Because it's so easy to point out problems, issues that we all got. It doesn't matter if you're a manager, you're a salesperson, any position in the car dealership, you're going to have day-to-day struggles. You're going to have struggles with staff, you're going to have struggles with customers, you're going to have struggles with the process. There's just always going to be struggles. This business is always moving, and it has a lot of different moving parts. So in order to make it perfect, takes some time, takes some patience, and takes your willingness to change. And here's what we got to do. Throughout the month in a car dealership, there's so many things that I've seen that go wrong or could be better, that could be improved on. And we always be pointing them out all the time. So especially it's me as a manager, I'm always talking to the sales staff. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Which is true. They need to be doing the things that we're pointing out to them. But most of the time, and I've made this mistake myself. All right, before we get to the video, I need a little bit of your help. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done that. And most importantly, please send this video to 1 or 2 people that you know could really use some motivation. And maybe this video will just help them out. All right, let's get right to it. I don't actually have a clear plan, a clear vision, a clear accountable actions that I'm going to hold them accountable to on this stuff that I'm trying to get fixed. So then everybody seems to get frustrated. So what you need to do is you need to have a clear plan on what you're going to fix and how you're going to fix it, how you're going to hold everybody accountable to it, and stick to it. So I would suggest that if you're in a management position or you're even a salesperson and you're trying to get something within your own process fixed, pick one thing. And this is hard for me to do. This is very difficult for me to do because I want to fix everything and I want to fix it all right now. But I'm learning to slow myself down and be very strategic on what I'm trying to get done. And this is going to take me working on myself daily because this is not what I'm used to. I'm not used to me trying to slow down, be strategic with it. I'm like, I want to rush through it. I want to get it done now. I don't understand why when I ask somebody to do something, they're not getting it done. But when I stop and I slow down and I start asking different questions, like, why aren't you doing it? What's holding you up from getting this done the way it needs to be done? What about the process could be fixed to make your life easier? That way this gets handled every single time, whatever it is. And there's so many questions that we could ask differently. But in the heat of the battle, most of the time, it's just, why didn't you get it done? I need you to get this done. And then we move on with our day, and next week we bring it up again. So at my store, we introduced this weekly check-in and monthly review. And I got it down, I'm not going to say but we got it down to the simplest thing that we could possibly get down to that would have the most impact. And we broke this down into 2 categories: effort and skill. The effort part, we broke down to the touch points. And when I say touch points with a customer, I'm talking about every single text message you send out, every email you send out, every video you send out, every phone call that's made is a touch point. Now, sometimes in the conversation, you might be texting back and forth with a customer 50 times with just that one customer. But we broke down all the activity that it took to sell one car, and we divided that up. So we did all the activity, divided up how many cars we sold for the year, and we divided it up, and it came down to 109 touch points to sell a car. Okay? Now, again, when I say touch points, I'm not just talking about, one text message I'm talking about like if they send a text message to a customer and that goes back and forth, that could be like 50 text messages in one. They could send 4 emails to the same customer. But what we found out was it took 109 touch points of communication to wrap up one deal. So when we got to the effort part, we basically said, hey, here's your monthly goal to sell cars. This is the goal. And what we did with the goal is we looked at, this is September, we looked at last September. And we said, here's how many cars you sold in September of last year. We are going to grow this store at a 5% rate. So in order to do that, in order to grow the dealership at 5%, you need to sell 5% more than you did last year. This number is pretty small for most people, right? Half a deal, one deal is what it equates to. Then we took the amount of cars that they needed to sell and we times that by 109. And that's how much activity they needed to put out in September in order to achieve their goal of selling cars based on the facts. Now we go to the other side of the equation, which is skill. Because not every single person needs to send out 109 touch points to the customer in order to sell them one vehicle. Some people can do it in less, some people could do it in more. But what we're finding out here is who has the actual skill and who does not. So if they can get it done in 90 tasks, in 90 touch points, and they can sell the goal or achieve more than the goal, great job. So then we basically go to it and say, hey, great job. You've got tons of skill. Obviously, you're doing the work in less time and less effort, which is awesome. But we still need you to step up the effort, because if you step up the effort with the skill that you have, now you're going to sell even more cars. And then we just basically broke it all down into the middle, and then we asked, a question gets asked. Did you put forth enough effort to achieve your goal? Yes or no? And then on the other side, have you been skillful enough to stay on target? Yes or no? And if they haven't on the skill part, we can help them with that. We can figure out what's holding them up. We can do some training with them, and we can help them figure out how we could sell more cars, what they got going on wrong. The effort part, there's not a lot you can actually do to help somebody. Yeah, you could force it down their throat. You could talk to them daily about it. You can get upset with them, but you can't force somebody to want to put forth effort. So if somebody doesn't want to put forth the effort, we're simply letting them know there's no place at the dealership for you if you want to do this. If you can't simply put forth the effort, we can't help you. We can help with the skill, but we can't help with the effort. That's where you come in. You have to help with that part. And this has been working really, really well for us. And then we just basically, we do this every week, and then on a monthly basis, we go over the total goal and see how they hit it, and if they needed more effort, if they needed more skill, what they needed. And it's been really helpful. The activity's been going up. I feel like the sales are slowly creeping up. But on a manager side, the tough part is, do I really only want to grow 5%? Because if you think about it, let's say you sell 70 cars or 100. Let's just say you sold 100 cars and you move up 5%. That's not a lot. That's not a lot at all. And as a manager of the business who's very competitive and wants to do better, we set this target, but then we have expectations of doing way more than that. And so every day we talk to the staff, it's us pushing for more than that, and not just talking about the target. Because we as managers, most of the time, forget that we're going to be here next month. This month is all that matters, and we forget that we're going to be here next month. So the challenge for all of us, salespeople, managers, is to have a clear goal Have a strategic way that you're going to achieve this goal, and then talk about it every single day. Don't veer off from this. Talk about it every single day. I'll do a little bit more about this video into depth on one of my next videos. But today, have a great day, and I want you to start thinking about how you want to improve and how you're going to do that. Not why you can't, but why you want to and how you're going to do it. Have a great day.
This one's for the ones who keep going, even when life's got them on the ropes. Hustle over talent.